Jen.
Hi, Em.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Listen.
Same as last time. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Hopped up on coffee.
What kind of coffee did you have this morning?
Just my usual
Milk?
Milk.
So you're hopped up on milk? You're like a kid from the early 90s.
That I am. Actually, right before. But that I am.
She's like milk with
Just
dinner.
like chugging milk.
Just milk all day.
Oh, God. I think that's why I like it so much.
Recently, I heard that you can sell your breast milk to bodybuilders. And I'm just wondering.
Listen.
I don't know what the going price is, but I'm interested in making some extra cash.
Wait, why is? Do you know the reason?
Apparently, it's like a high fat and protein but low caloric count. So bodybuilders are literally buying breast milk.
That is.
And people are selling
That makes me
sick.
so ill. On another level of ill.
But maybe someone who's a vegan might say, is it any different than taking cow's milk?
Totally. Listen, I don't
Let's
want
not talk about this for literally any more amount of time.
So sorry. It's just coffee. I've hopped up on coffee. It's just
Maybe we could cut that entire thing. Okay.
too much work.
Too much work. Okay, I'm so happy to be here today. We're talking about marriage advice from two couples therapists who are also married.
Yes, we are.
Right?
We are.
That we are. But first, there's an intro question. And I really like this.
You want me to say it?
Yeah, you read it.
What is a belief you held or still hold about yourself that's not true, but you have a hard time letting go of? Do you know yours?
Oh, probably that I'm unlovable.
Oh, took it deep.
What were you going to say? Like, my farts don't smell? Like, what was yours going to be?
Can you imagine if that was a belief I held about myself?
Girls don't fart. What was it going to be? What were you going to be?
No, I guess. I never look at the intro.
No,
questions
me either,
before.
and we really should.
We really should.
Not well planned at all.
It takes me way too long. Maybe that I can't articulate what I'm trying to say.
You were literally on a podcast where that's all you do.
I know.
I would say that is definitely not an accurate belief.
Right, but I think it's something. I think when you're introverted and you hold all your thoughts in your head and you don't express them, when you move into a place of like always expressing them and having to express them, it still doesn't change the fact that you think they're like not coming out.
Okay. All right.
And yours?
My farts don't smell.
Right. That's what I figured. It's a good belief. And you are right. That is true.
Never had one. Okay. I'm really excited for this topic today. It's a more general topic. But for fun, is there any marriage advice you got from someone before your wedding, for your marriage that was helpful? And why was it me? Why was it from me?
We were at that point so deep into like our careers and like being couples therapists that I don't think anyone dare give me marriage advice.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
My friend Jessie, you know Jessie very well. The night before my wedding, she's sleeping in bed with me, and she's like, and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of freaking out. And she goes, I mean, you guys bought a house together like 3 years ago, so like this shit doesn't really matter, right? And I was like, okay, it's a good point.
Great point.
She was like, legally you're entrapped, so does this matter? And I was like, solid point. We already own a home.
Also, like, of course you're freaking out.
But like, it's so how funny were you the night before your wedding?
I just got no sleep.
Because you were just up.
I was just like so up and like just like I anxious. I think I was more focused on the fact that I had to like see so many people and like
so it's a wedding is a whole thing, right?
Right.
Which is why our best advice we can give you as couples therapists is to elope.
Don't you do it. Honestly, it was the best day of my life.
It's so true.
Besides the Backstreet Boys concert that I just went to. It was the best.
Did you hear Taylor Swift is in talks to do a residency at this year? Did you hear this?
She should. I'm in.
Okay. All right, let's get to this.
So yeah, we're doing marriage advice today.
Yeah.
Because we're both married and couples therapists. I don't fucking know. Feel like a lot of people had questions about it, so that's why we're doing it. Okay, someone asked, I love this question. Is it true that when you know, you know? If so, I would have thought that 3 times already.
That was like when I was in high school and I was like, I'm going to marry this man.
Yeah, to like everyone.
When you're with someone, I think you usually in your present, you usually don't think about like, oh, my future's gonna be so different, right? So like,
Right.
I think in all relationships, you either break up or get married.
Right.
You break up or stay together. I shouldn't say get married. You break up or you stay together.
Right.
And most of you are not thinking about, we're gonna break up.
Also,
so like,
if you say it enough times, you're going to be right.
each time, eventually you'll be right.
Eventually you'll be right. Or you won't. You know what I mean? If you say when you know, and you feel like you know, eventually you're going to know.
I mean, knowing is rarely instant.
Right.
Right. We are not big believers in love at first sight. I would say that.
Oh, 100%.
That would be because we live a lot up here in the noggin.
That we do.
So for someone, it might be like, oh man, my energy, their energy. Maybe you've had the experience. That's super cool if you have. I have rarely seen that to work out in couples therapy.
Well, I think so often the knowing, right, that feeling of like, oh my God, it was instant love. And it was like, those are just chemicals.
It's dopamine.
It's dopamine.
That's lust and dopamine.
Exactly.
You're like, this person is really cool. They make me very excited and I'd like to fuck them. And I mean, like in general, that is. So like, which is super cool to have at the beginning, right? Like what an exciting thing to have. And it feels really good. But that's not the same thing as this person makes me feel safe and makes me feel heard and makes me feel like they want to know me in my inner world.
Okay, I love this study because I think that it's going to validate a lot of people.
Yeah.
Studies show that confidence in a choice grows after commitment, not always before. In other words, people know by deciding and then investing in that choice. Isn't that so good?
It's so good because I'm always thinking, people always say like, well, what if I don't feel ready?
Right.
Ready is not a feeling. Feelings are happy, sad, anxious, guilt, disgust. You know what I mean? Like ready is not a feeling. Ready is a decision that we make.
Yes.
And if you keep waiting, people, I think also some people that really struggle with commitment or struggle with avoidance, they are going to think like, what about if there's someone else? Well, there's always a new iPhone model. Eventually, you just fucking buy one. And I know that that is not as sexy as it seems, but I do think there's something to saying there is a reason why I'm going to make it work with this person. There is a reason why I'm going to keep working with them, that I'm going to commit to this and I'm going to grow with them and I keep going and invest in somebody. And in that, you invest in yourself.
It's funny that you say iPhone model because they keep coming out with new ones.
I know, but you don't buy every one.
Every other.
I'm just saying, like, you know, like each year you could have a new model in a relationship just like a phone. But sometimes you're like, I got to just keep this model and work with it.
And that's that piece of it of like, I have made this decision.
Yeah.
Right? I've made this decision. And because I've made this decision, I'm going to invest in it. And I feel comfortable with my choice because I'm investing in it. I'm working on it. We're working on this together. As opposed to, I just knew that dopamine, that lust made me know that this, let me tell you something, dopamine and lust do not make for a healthy relationship all the time.
So like sometimes the best sex of your life is not the healthiest relationship. Oftentimes. Wait, okay, but here's good questions to ask yourself instead of, do I just know? Other things you can say to yourself is, do I feel safe being my authentic self here? Can we repair after conflict? Are our values aligned in big picture ways? And do I like who I am in this relationship?
I love that last one. Do I like who I am in this relationship? Because if you have been in multiple types of relationships, you will know the difference between being in a relationship that really works for you and one that really doesn't. Because the difference in who you are and how you feel about the world is so different.
And really those questions point to relational health and not chemistry.
Yes.
Chemistry is, do I think this person is sexy? Do I think they're hilarious? You know, those things are helpful too, though.
At the beginning, right?
Yeah.
But they don't make for long-term health. They can.
Yeah, I guess.
They can turn into it.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I mean. But yes, yeah. But I mean, if you only are with someone for their looks, what happens when life, I'm just saying, eventually gravity hits you.
It's that damn gravity.
Eventually,
things
start falling.
Face just strips to the floor.
My tits are at my ankles.
Someone wrote in similarly, how to know if they're the one. once again, more importantly, can we repair after fights? Can I be my authentic self with them? Okay, not to call you out, but you made such a beautiful, like, what was it? Your vows, maybe, at your wedding?
Oh, my vows were beautiful. Yeah, thank you.
Can you speak to that a little bit? Because I think I remember it because even though I was in
you talking about the socks?
Yeah, the socks. Even though
that was my husband.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Okay.
Even though I was in a state of complete allergy attack.
Yeah, you were like on a Sudafed Benadryl bender. Jen got like severely allergic to something at my wedding.
Never happens.
Who knows what? She left early.
I left early because I could not function.
Yeah.
But he made such a beautiful.
Okay, so what my husband talked about, my husband's a very good writer. Yeah. He is also an engineer, so not super romantic. So the vows were about me being the perfect pair of socks. And there's other socks he could choose in the drawer, of course. But we are the pair, and I am the sock that he wants to choose every time. Like, I have a favorite pair of socks. Do you have a favorite pair of socks? Like,
no.
Well, you're killing this idea. But you wanted me to talk about it, but you're not going to help me. You could have lied.
Yeah, I love
like
this
maybe it's a t-shirt, right? But like there's
Yeah.
other things I could wear, and I could make it work with them, and I'd be fine in those, but it's not the one I want to choose time and time again. And that's because me and my husband firmly believe in choice.
Yeah.
Right? That like we choose each other time and time and time again. Even when the sock rips, even when we have some repairs, even when it needs to be washed. That I believe that marriage is an active choice. We must actively choose every single day.
Yeah, and there's not just like one person in the world for you.
I know, and some people really believe that, and that's fine if you believe that. I don't believe that.
Also, like, how overwhelming that idea
what if
is.
that one person is a gajillion continents away? I'm just saying that's a lot of. And okay, you're telling me there's one person in the world for you, but they happen to live in the town over.
Right.
I'm just saying, mathematically,
what are the chances?
That shit ain't working. But I am a big believer in, I don't believe in hierarchy of relationships, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I believe my friendships are honestly almost as, I believe they're equally as important as my marriage.
Totally.
Right? Like, yes. My relationships, my friendships. And so with that, I also believe there's choice in friendships. In any important relationship, I feel like there is choice.
Yeah.
Okay, so how to know if you're one. Harriet Lerner has a really good line as well. Look for curiosity about your inner world, not about perfection, right? My husband is very interested in knowing me, knowing my thoughts, knowing my inner world. I'm allowed to be incredibly flawed in my marriage, which I am. Every human is. We're all incredibly flawed, right? I said, my mom told me this story the other day. She said one time when she became a mom of two, she was talking to a friend and she was like, oh, like, is motherhood's like a path to enlightenment. And she said, no, motherhood's a path to humility.
Whoa.
And that's what marriage is a lot of the time, right? Like to really have an ego death and let yourself be seen and be able to be humbled and have humility brings a tremendous amount of connection.
Yeah. Someone wrote, is it bad to not overthink wanting to get married if it feels right? I think...
Once again, right, it's not a feeling.
Good.
Just saying.
I think especially in our culture, marriage is framed as like the biggest decision of your life. And that pressure of it often creates these like obsessive thoughts around it. Right? Mm-hmm. This is the biggest decision of my life. I have to find the one, right? Like the pressure in our culture around finding the one, making this gigantic decision.
Yeah.
I think often causes a lot of people to overthink. But research actually shows the opposite, that couples who are overly anxious or constantly testing the relationship often experience more instability. So I would say no. There's nothing wrong with you not overthinking. Yeah. Sometimes it's helpful to not be overthinking. But I think there are, instead of saying, okay, I'm not overthinking this, it is important to ask yourself some basic value questions, right? To make sure that it is a good match for you from a logistics standpoint and from a place of feeling seen, respected, validated. So there's a difference between I'm not overthinking and am I avoiding looking at some of the things in our relationships. So having values conversations, money conversations, conversations about children, right? I mean, that's a huge thing. If one of you wants children, the other one doesn't. Boundaries around family.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say is, are you not overthinking or are you avoiding looking at specific things in your relationship?
Couples therapists will talk about this in unspoken contracts, right? Which is that, like, in my head, I say to myself, oh, well, when we get married, she'll want to have kids. When we get married, she'll not talk to her mom on the phone 10 times a day. When we get married, he'll stop drinking, right? Like, these unspoken contracts you make, the other person did not sign. You did not talk about this shit. In your head, you think this, and you have to really look for those. But instead of saying it feels right, why don't you say, does it feel safe? Do I feel accepted? Do I feel aligned? Do I feel seen?
Beautiful. Someone wrote, I know nobody is perfect. How to determine which flaws I can deal with?
So let's talk about, there are some things that are flaws and there are some things that are risk factors. And these are two different things. Someone abusing you is not a flaw. It's a fucking risk factor. So what are, Jen, tell me risk factors.
Risk factors: abuse, chronic deceit, financial exploitation, untreated substance use that endangers safety, repeated infidelities, refusal to end outside entanglements, right? These are risk factors. So if you look at kind of things that are not flaws, that are things to make sure you protect yourself from, those are some things you're going to want to look at. So
like a flaw is like my husband has a messy office.
Right.
I think that's a flaw. It's very annoying to me.
Right.
But
or like makes dumb jokes.
We got a lot of those, but also imagine being married to me. It's like pure dumb jokes. Ugh. But like those flaws, right? And so I'll hear people say like, you know, these things that I'm like, that's a safety risk factor. That's not a flaw.
Right.
Your partner drinks a lot and then gets angry and hits things. That's not a flaw. It's eventually going to be you.
Right.
And I know that sounds, we don't like saying that because it doesn't sound sexy and it sounds overwhelming when I say things like that. But that is not a flaw. Do not call that a flaw.
Right. And I also think there's things in your relationship that can be negotiated.
Totally.
Right. So if there's like a mismatch in who's taking on more chores, right? The mental load, like these are things that can be negotiated, different social needs.
Where are we going for the holidays?
Exactly.
Right. So it might be difficult in a relationship. We might have to have a lot of a conversation around it, but that doesn't mean it's a deal breaker.
Right.
It means we got to figure this out together.
Right. So I think that's the question is like, what category is that flaw in?
What, if anything, changes after getting married? You know, research actually tells us that people, it sounds so silly, right? Because like, what's the difference between Friday versus Saturday after I've signed a piece of paper? But interestingly enough, research has shown us that people will often feel more confident and stable in their relationship after getting married. There is something about the commitment to it that makes our nervous system relax, right? Like, okay, this person's going to be here for me. And I mean, especially for me, I'm like, look, I can, really be fucked up and you're not going to leave me. But I also do truly believe that is the importance of like thinking about marriage as also on a license to renew.
Yeah.
We should still date our partner. We should still treat them with respect. We should not, just take everything out on them.
Right, just because they're stuck with you.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of research that actually shows that the commitment of marriage makes people more relaxed in a marriage.
I also think it brings up those scripts that we don't really talk about, right? That we're like, okay, like you mentioned earlier, I have all these ideas about what marriage is going to look like. And whether we develop those scripts from childhood, from our parents modeling it for us, and really looking at those scripts before you get married can be really important, can be really helpful, because then you can bring it to the surface before you get married to say, hey, I have this idea that when we get married, you're not going to be going out with your friends as much as you do. Can we talk about that? Because your partner might have a completely different idea about what that means. So
my partner probably thought that.
Is it true?
No, I kept going at
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Very social, very into my friendships.
But that's the thing is like sometimes you don't even realize what those scripts are that you have in your head. You have this idea of this is what marriage is going to look like. And once your marriage doesn't turn out that way, you start to look at, oh, it's interesting that I thought that it was supposed to be like this, right? We like think that it's supposed to be a certain way because of the way we learned about marriage and the ideas that we developed about what marriage should look like. And so being able to really understand what your scripts are, I think is really important because then you can make them more conscious and bring them to the surface and talk to your partner about them, talk through them, negotiate them.
What ideally should we talk about before getting married? Let's talk about this. And as a reminder, if you're interested in premarital therapy, we have plenty of, we developed a premarital program years ago. It's been edited, it's been worked on, it's been adapted. We have 20 therapists that are trained in this at our practice and can service you in any states. So I'm just saying, in case, little plug there, if you want to do some premarital work, you like that?
Love it.
Listen, okay. Let's talk about the big ones. Money.
Yeah.
Not sexy, not fun to talk about. Spending versus saving styles, debt transparency, joint versus separate accounts, long-term financial goals.
Yeah.
The general topics I would talk about with money. I cannot tell you how many couples come in and say, like, I just found out about all this debt this person had. So it might feel weird, especially because we have a culture that has taught us to not talk about money, but talking about money is incredibly important.
Especially in your marriage.
Yeah.
Right.
Although there are some couples that choose to keep their finances completely separate, and that there's nothing wrong with that as long as it is a consensual, decide upon decision. But let's say you go into a marriage thinking it's all going to be shared, and your partner think it's all going to be separate. That's not going to be a fun conversation to have.
Another thing is sex and intimacy, talking about the frequency, initiation, and also that's something that changes over time, right? Mm-hmm. So continuing to have the conversation around sex and intimacy. Once again, not sexy to talk about sex, but important.
But it could be. I mean, listen,
I guess it depends.
Comfort with discussing fantasies, mismatched desire, porn use, kinks, any of these things.
Yeah.
They're important to talk about, right? And also can be fun. We always recommend a yes, no, maybe list. Spend some time. What am I interested? What am I definitely not interested? What could I be interested with the right person? And then plans for navigating mismatches because they will happen throughout times in your marriage, right? So maybe it's postpartum, maybe it's job loss, maybe it's the death of a family member. All of a sudden your desire grows or it diminishes. And how will we deal with this in our marriage?
Yeah. And then conflict and communication. So Gottman's research shows that the number one predictor of divorce is contempt, which is eye-rolling, sarcasm, name-calling. So, and listen, every couple is going to fight. Every couple is going to have arguments. What matters is how you repair and how you work through that. Mm-hmm. So this might be a tough pill to swallow. If you have bad communication before you get married, you will have bad communication when you get married.
And Terry Real talks about content in a way that I really love, which is grandiosity. It's content turns outward, and shame is contempt turned inward.
Yes.
I hate you versus I hate me, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how am I going to solve our fights? How have I learned to fight? What's my fighting style? How am I going to repair, rupture versus repair? How are we going to do this? And then boundaries for conflict.
You know what I love that you said once? I think you said this. I'm pretty sure.
Tell me more.
You said something about how, like, when you're 1 year into a marriage or 2 years into a marriage, that your marriage is only 1 year old.
Oh, yeah. The developmental age of your marriage is often like developmental styles of children.
Yeah.
Right. So at 1 year old, your marriage is just learning to talk.
Yeah.
And learning to walk, and it's gonna fall a lot. And 2 years old and 3 years old, and then they talk about like this 7-year itch. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if you have kids that age, they start to really be sort of defiant, disobedient, slightly challenging.
Yes.
That's normal in a relationship, right? So like, think, how long have we been together? How long have we been married? There's developmental ages with relationships as well.
And that's where I think like conflict and communication styles, like it's such a work in progress to learn what makes sense for your relationship, the best way to communicate your feelings, how you have learned to communicate or not communicate, how you react to your emotions, and how to find a different language for what you're trying to say so that you and your partner can work through disagreements or conflicts in a way that works for your relationship.
Important thing, the next one, the important thing to talk about is family boundaries.
Yes.
About 50% of the Dear Em and Jens that come into the podcast are about in-laws. Yeah. That is a shocking amount, right?
And not shocking.
And not shocking. But I mean, if you really think about it, that's huge.
Yes.
And so that's how much our family of origins and our in-laws can affect our marriages and relationships. What's our relationship going to be like with our family of origins? What's our communication going to be like? How are we going to navigate holidays? How are we going to navigate conflict? They become grandparents, aunts, uncles, any of these things.
That's a big shift, too, that I think no one expects in marriage, is going from a place of like being with your nuclear family that you grew up with to creating a new family with your partner.
Yeah.
And
that's what's supposed to happen, guys.
That's what's supposed to happen. But I think that is a shift that people aren't prepared for, and they don't really understand how to navigate it in a way that's healthy for their relationship, because you're also navigating your nuclear family's feelings around it too. They're not prepared for it. You're not prepared for it. So that's something I just wanted to put it out there, because it's just something to think about and really process through of like, this is what I'm doing is I'm creating a new nuclear family with my partner, and I'm moving away from my original nuclear family, and I'm going to set boundaries around my new one to make sure that that relationship is solid.
Yeah. And then the last one we talk about that we think is really important is values around children. You need to talk about if you want to have children or not from the very beginning. People will write in and be like, I'm dating. When should I bring up I don't want to have kids? Today. Last week. 37 seconds ago.
We talked about it on our third date.
Can't believe you waited that long.
I know. I still
She's a couples therapist.
Really embarrassing. I was still like
feeling out.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But, I was like, this is where I am now. I don't know if it's going to change, but this is how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Not interested in having kids.
And he was like, same.
He was like, thank God.
And how much more did that make you attracted to him?
Oh, my God.
You were like, oh, thank God. Because what if he had been like, oh,
I'm
wow.
dying to have kids.
Or it's just like, oh, well, I think I'm interested. Because, when someone like is like that, they're like, well, I think I might want them. They want them.
So
I think at least their option's open. And if the option is closed for you, you should know that.
I think my husband, when he's the one who brought the question up.
Yeah.
And I think
how do you do it? Hey,
we were in Rittenhouse Square, and there were kids running around.
And he was like, hate those fuckers.
He was like, how do you feel about kids? Or maybe I said it to him. I think I said it to him, and I was like, how do you feel about kids? He was like, like, I'm not sure. I was like,
he's like,
okay.
I'm going to see what you say.
That's exactly. That's what it was.
I'm going to be real. He's like, you're a woman. I don't know what you're into.
Exactly. So I was like, yeah, I'm not really into them. And he was like, oh, thank God. That's what happened. So he was like kind of on the fence because he like didn't know how I was going to react to it.
He's like, I really like this girl. I want this to work.
And so I really want this to work. And so I'm going to say, I'm going to be like, yeah. And so at that moment, we really connected on that level.
So you should know, I want you to talk about, do you want to have kids? What would it be like if it was difficult having kids? What are you open to in terms of that? Like, how important is it to have kids? Like, would you, pay for IVF? Like, there's really important things to talk about. How many kids do you want? And what would your parenting style be? Yeah. What's important for you in a parent? As a parent, like me and my husband have very different parenting styles when we're activated.
Yeah.
When we are not, we are very much on the same page. But when we are activated with our daughter, my husband becomes way more authoritative and I come way more permissive because I am anxious and I want to make everything better. And he is better at sitting in anxiety, right? But sometimes it goes too much. And so it's interesting that for the most part, we're on the same page until activation occurs. And so that's something to keep in mind is when shit's really stressful, what's that going to be like?
And my assumption is you had to learn that over time.
I wouldn't have known that until, that's kind of you're learning on the job, baby.
That's kind of the question, right? Like you could anticipate what kind of parent you would be, but do you really know until you're in it?
Listen, I'll tell you this. One of the biggest skills I have, have we done an episode about being the firstborn? No, right? Like
No.
we've done birth order. We should do an episode about being firstborn. Neither of us are firstborns. Now that I have 2 kids, I have a lot of sympathy for a firstborn.
Yeah.
And here's why. Firstborns grow up with their parents, and secondborns and after are raised by parents.
Yeah.
My daughter got the anxious, figuring this out, guinea pig mom.
Yeah.
She didn't ask for that. I didn't ask for that. We were figuring this shit out together.
Yeah.
Right? But like, you know, like that is really hard.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the very few jobs you learn on completely.
Listen, I learned on this job.
Yeah, but like, you know, my daughter is going to be in therapy. Like, man, my mom was such a mess, you know, like.
But that's what therapy's for.
Right. And then like, right, to have this young kid and then I'm having all these miscarriages and how that affected our marriage and how it affected my relationship to her, right? Where because I had all these miscarriages, I had so much trauma around motherhood. I was definitely less bounded with her than I think I would ever be with a kid again because I was like holding on for dear life, right?
That makes
like,
sense.
I was also doing it to the dog too.
Well, which one?
Murphy, never Dolly Parton.
Right. No,
Dolly Parton, I'm like, you're fucking fine.
You're good. She's the second born.
Where Murphy, I'm like, oh my God, Murphy's having a hard day. He's looking at me sad. Dolly Parton looks at me sad. I'm like, relax.
You're like, you're fine.
You're fine. Murphy does it. I'm like, my boy.
Sweet boy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm really sorry to firstborns. Okay.
Moral of the story.
Yeah. Love it. Somebody said when to talk about money. As soon as possible.
Immediately.
Financial stress, number 2 cause of divorce.
Someone said advice for marriage after 10 years, how to stay close when you're changing.
Goes back to our favorite Esther Perel quote.
That we all have multiple marriages, sometimes to the same person.
If you're lucky, to the same person, she says. All of us will have multiple marriages in our life, and if you are lucky, it's to the same person. There is 1 million versions of your marriage that will happen.
Yeah.
Get to know you, get to know them. We study ourselves. We study our partners.
Yeah.
We study us.
Knowing that you're going to change, your partner is going to change. Be prepared for those changes. The expectation that neither of you will change over time is completely unrealistic and will keep you stuck. The more you anticipate those changes, get to know your partner over and over and over again, get to know yourself over and over and over again, the easier the transitions will be. But know that there will be transitions in your marriage. It will happen. It's inevitable.
You know, research says that people, identity shifts happen every roughly 7 to 10 years. I feel like that happened way more often for me.
Right.
7 to 10 years feels like it's a long block of time in one identity. I feel like I'm
been a million identities.
I'm just saying once every 12 months. Once a year.
Once quick identity shift.
You don't feel, don't you feel like you have these big, I feel like I have big discoveries about myself all the time.
I think mine maybe happen every 5 years.
Oh shit, what's wrong with
me? You know your hair is
Okay.
supposed to change every 7 years?
What? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I know.
What do you mean change?
You didn't know that?
Like it fall, what do you mean?
I hope not falls out. I got a whole...
You're giving me no information. I keep saying, what do you mean? And you're telling me
It's because
nothing.
I don't know.
Okay. Thank you for
That's
that.
why I keep avoiding it.
Thank you for that helpful information. I know my hairdresser, Corinne, listens to this. Corinne, please tell us what
Please
that
help
means.
us.
Okay. Keep curiosity alive in your relationship. Ask new questions. Do not assume you know them. It's one of the biggest issues that happen in your marriage is you think you know someone. You don't. Because they're discovering new parts of themselves. I'm discovering new parts of me. We have to keep learning and growing. That's an important thing to keep in mind, right? That includes emotionally, financially, sexually, right? Do check-ins with each other. Learn new things.
Another thing is allow space for individual growth. And this is such a paradox because especially if you're someone who bends towards anxious attachment, if you feel your partner changing or growing, you might be someone that is trying to hold on for dear life. But what happens is when you hold on for dear life, you might be stifling your ability to connect with them and their new self. Yeah. So the anxiety that you feel as your partner grows, I want you to look at it. What's it bringing up for you? What's the fear? Am I worried that if my partner grows, they're going to leave me? Am I worried that we're going to grow apart? The thing that you shouldn't do is hold on harder. The thing you should do is allow them to blossom, allow them to grow, and get to know the new version of them.
Novelty fuels dopamine, and dopamine can fuel connection. Yes. So try the pottery class, try the dance class, try the role play in the bedroom, try new kinks. You know what I mean? Like try all these new things together. You are growing, your partner is growing. Let the dopamine work in a healthy relationship, and in a healthy way in a long-term relationship. Bring someone else into the bedroom. Hey, man, have fun with it.
Fun.
Marriage is a long time. You got to keep that shit kinky. Okay.
Absolutely.
We have to do Dear Em and Jen.
I know. We're
not doing a great job today of
time.
Of time, yes. Okay.
Dear Em and Jen, I recently found out I'm pregnant. It was very much a planned pregnancy, and we are incredibly excited. However, I can't stop thinking about a huge part of this journey. One of my very close friends has had an incredibly difficult journey with pregnancy. From infertility to losses, it has been incredibly hard and consuming for her. She has been doing fertility treatments, and I pray she is also pregnant soon. My question is, how do I approach telling her? I cannot help but feel huge amounts of guilt, and I don't want to make her feel worse or catch her off guard. We are very close, and I have been a huge part of her support through this hard time. I feel as though I'm lying by keeping it to myself for a while, but I'm not sure how this will affect our relationship. Any advice on how to approach? I also understand she may need space. While it is something I have to grieve, since we have talked for years about pregnancy and what we will do with/for one another, I truly want to do what is best for her and our friendship.
This person's probably had the baby by the time we got to this.
Yeah. I'm sure. She's definitely told her. I'm so sorry.
One of the issues is that there's so many Dear Em and Jens, they often come months later. So this person is probably giving her, she's like, I've been waiting for my answer from ShrinkChicks. So I never told her. First of all, let's say you're a wonderful, kind, loving friend. If you lead with love and kindness every time, people will adjust. Make it about your friend, not about you. So what that means is I personally prefer it to be done in person. I had someone in a similar situation who wrote me an email. It was horrible. You remember the day that I got it.
Sure did.
But they tried they Googled it, very clearly Googled it and wanted to do the right thing.
Didn't even use ChatGPT.
ChatGPT wasn't around then. It was like, this is like 5 years ago.
Right.
And they absolutely did what they think was right, but I also think they did what they were comfortable with versus what was right for me. But what they were trying to do was not catch me off guard, which I really appreciate as well. It's a complex situation. I don't know if there's a perfect way to do it, but clearly you were very, very close with this person. Tell them in person, shower them with love, and then stop talking and don't make it about yourself. Let them have whatever time they need to adjust to it. But for the most part, for me, throughout my entire time, as long as I really loved that person and I felt close to them, I was just really excited and happy for them. Right? It's one thing if you're on your like seventh kid. Just saying, like, the times that I get a little bitter would be like I'd see someone from my high school who's like on their fifth kid and I'd be like, what the fuck is happening?
But you're not friends with that person.
No, I'm not friends with but I'm saying those are the people that I was like feeling some type of way about.
Right. Like how?
But my people that I love and that I'm close with, I was just so happy for them too and excited to love their kids. And that's what close friendship does. But you're an amazing friend for this and you've probably already had the baby.